All right, folks, buckle up. This is Chasing Prophecy on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. I'm so glad we're here because tonight we're going to deep dive. You know what I mean? How we do the deep dive? You know how we do it on Chasing Prophecy. We don't shy away from the strange, the spiritual, and the downright suspicious. And I know John's all about suspicion because he's my co-host, John Ventry. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here with us today. How you doing?
Good, pretty good, I think.
Good. You think you're doing okay?
Well, I've had a barrel of tests done because I play racquetball twice a week for almost 2 hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm having shortness of breath.
Oh no.
And they've checked everything. I did a stress test. They checked my lungs. They checked my kidneys. So the next thing is pulmonary. You know, I think I might just have sports asthma. I could never run long distance. I ran track. I was a sprinter even as a teenager. At about 400 yards, I conked out. I think it's finally caught up to me at my age. So I don't know.
You know, I think there's something because I'm a little nasally. I get short of breath too when I go out when there's a lot of crap in the air.
Yeah, well, I thought it was all the rain this summer and the humidity.
Mold.
And the pollen.
It might be mold. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be mold. Maybe I got mold in the house. I don't know.
I don't know because I know I was telling my son that he's a doctor and I said, "Hey, John, I don't know because I'm in a lot of pain though because I have arthritis really bad.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to walk like I'm walking my dog. And if I do like a mile, I'm like, I'm struggling, you know, because between that and my sciatica and everything, it's our age too. But it seems, it's probably that. And it is the leaves that are falling from the ground. It can really do a havoc on your lungs. So look it up because I know myself. It could be the leaves.
I also got an anemic condition that limits the amount of oxygen I get in my blood. I've had that my whole life, so I've always written it off to that when I run out of breath.
Are you taking iron supplements?
No, it's nothing you can do for it.
Oh, really?
Different type, thalassemia, anemia. You get it from some great grandparent had malaria, so then you develop this. But whatever, I'll get to the bottom. I think when I see the pulmonary guy, then I'll get to the bottom of this.
You know what I say? I say to everybody has something. I mean, everybody. It seems like, especially our age, it seems like everybody's miserable.
I don't take any prescriptions. I'm very healthy.
Yeah. But, it's just the aging process sucks, you know, because you got all those aches and pains.
It's caught up to me this year. I don't know why all of a sudden.
Or you could have been abducted by an alien. I know that's your favorite.
I could have and took a piece of.
Or a demon took you to a faraway place.
He put that thing down my throat and scooped my lung, and he damaged it.
Oh, that's not fun. That's not fun at all.
Maybe I got an implant in my lungs.
Oh,
a little alien's going to come out of my nose.
Yeah, you know. You never know, especially when the mothership's coming. So you got the 3-eye Atlas is coming too. But tonight we have an interesting guest. This is going to be cool. Her name is Summer. She's an intuitive teacher, an energy healer, author, spiritual life coach with a deep passion for helping others rediscover their wisdom already within them. Her path to this work was not simply a calling, it was a transformation through sound healing, trans-channeling. And I got to get into this. I have to really ask her about I'm so confused about that. Trans-channeling and intuitive practices. She supports others in aligning with their highest self and restoring balance to mind, body, and spirits. Her spiritual gifts include clairvoyance, audience. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Clairsentience. I'm screwing this up really bad. And oh my God, organization. She's going to have to come on and tell me how she pronounced them. Oh my God. Come on. Let's get this right. Oh, welcome to Chasing Prophecy Summer. I'm sorry I screwed that all up. So what
You're exactly perfectly fine. There's no expectations here, right? We're just having fun, right?
Yeah. I'm bad with words, so sorry. So how do you say that?
I am too honest. Yeah. I'm terrible with words. Look, I had to look all of those up and how do I spell this? Don't ask me for the pronunciation because I'm terrible, right?
Well, that's okay.
I'm terrible.
I have dyslexia, so it's very hard for me sometimes to pronounce words. Say, talk, speak, write, you read, you name it. Well, this is great, though. This is great. So right now we're living in this time of uncertainty, right? There's
Absolutely.
political,
Mhm.
there's global conflict, there's emotional exhaustion from everything, from everywhere. From your perspective as an intuitive healer, what is happening energetically? And is this on a collective level? Tell me what's going on?
It's definitely on a collective level. It's not it's our whole universe. It's not just, the planet Earth from what I understand, it's like our whole universe. Everything is shifting. And so our planet in particular, Earth, we're shifting and we're having to go through this emotional turmoil and the political turmoil and everything to take us to where we're supposed to go next as a collective, as a whole. So we've all bought into, come here at this time to do this all together. Whether we're the disruptors, whether we're the healers, or whether we're the observers of it all, or just the experiencers of being able to experience it. And so we're moving as a collective to our next vibrational level, per se. I know that's a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah,
For
what does it mean?
me, yeah, so for me and for my understanding is that we're going as a collective, as Earth as a whole, everybody that's here, we're moving to open up our awareness to humanity and where we really need to be, as a collective group for caring for one another, for realizing the importance and realizing that everybody's important. Everybody's emotions are important, and regardless of nationality, color, creed, or whatever, we're all equal. And
Mhm.
it's going to take this disruption to help bring that more to the foresight, so everybody can see it. And so people really should start fighting for one another and standing up for one another and understanding that.
Hmm. What do you think about
And
that,
it's
John?
very interesting. I used to work I mean, I worked for the federal government, and, the office I worked for was all about equity, and, like, we no longer exist, so they let our whole office go, which
My position on that has always been that no two people are alike.
true.
So nobody's equal. That's why I look at it. The only equality we have is that we're all totally different. I don't know two people who think the same. I play racquetball. Sometimes I win, sometimes they win. I don't know two people that are similar. So I say we are the thing we have in common is that we're all so freaking different.
We're all
So just
different.
accept
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I think it's also, like, owning that and realizing that it's okay to be uniquely you.
Yeah,
Right?
everybody
And
is.
to be who you truly are versus trying to stand up to the expectations and the demands of others.
Mhm.
So embrace who you are and your uniqueness. And it's important to be different. And
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, John. Like everybody's different. And it's like being
But
open
you
to
see,
that and receptive.
yeah, that's where though, because I'm very much uh, independent. I believe in capitalism in this country, but when they start pitching socialism, where all have talent is distributed equally, baloney. And we want to dip into your pocket and give it to other people. Churches are for charity. I give money to charity. I see my way of thinking and what I just said, that we're all so different, is why you don't have socialism, because somebody can just excel. Somebody's going to create the next great tech thing. Hopefully, it's AI that doesn't kill us, you know. But I'm totally against the whole socialist viewpoint that the progressives have. But I don't want to get into politics. Let's get into the esoterial, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so we everybody has this what's going on. We're like we just said, there's so much uncertainty. So many people feel anxious, disconnected. They're spiritually, some of them are
Yeah.
spiritually numb. I mean, they're totally. Do you believe this rise in anxiety is actually part of an awakening happening across humanity?
I actually do, and I feel that this is gonna increase over the next several months. So I feel like we're just at the peak. We're just barely at the boiling point of it. So imagine like a boiling pot of water and you have the few bubbles coming up, but it's not quite at a full boil yet. That's where we're kind of at. Like the few bubbles are coming up and the anxieties are increasing, the emotions are increasing, the uncertainties. People are some people are awakening, like waking up
Mhm.
to who they truly are and to their spirituality, and others are fighting their way through this because of the uncertainty and their own emotions that get caught up in it. So I feel like we are just at the beginning of this, and I think it's going to continue forward for several months, if not longer.
What do you think what the reason why this is happening?
Is the energetic vibration of our planet and our universe, and it's very interesting because in my channelings, what I'm understanding is what's happening is whatever's happening with us is expanding outwardly across the universe and is making a ripple effect in other places, that's beyond us. So, like, only thing I keep hearing that is beyond us and is bigger than what my mind can even imagine and take in. And so what's
Well,
happening here is just it expands outwardly and moving outward. So
what's causing it? That's what I is it I know a
it's
lot
the
of people
shift.
think that like Christians are saying there's a big revival because of what happened with Charlie Kirk. Now,
Mhm.
that's just one thing. There has to be more. There has to
And
be
this has been
something.
going on for a long time. When I
Yeah.
researched my first book 30 years ago, believe it or not, my God, and I started doing research, it was a book on the Mayan calendar and end time prophecy. I remember reading then, and these books maybe were written even in the 80s or 1990, I don't know. But they talked about these indigo children, star children that think differently than our generation, although every generation kind of thinks a little bit different, but they wouldn't accept a lot of the things that we were raised to believe, and that they're more intelligent, although that's hard to see when you watch the news, but this was all part of this kind of change that's coming. But at the time they were talking it would be around 2012, and that whole thing. But that came and gone 13 years ago. But they talked about this, that there's something changing in our consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
it sounds like it.
I truly believe that and feel that, and it's continuing. So, I think this is more I get 30 years. Not sure why the 30 years keeps coming up, but I keep 30 years, so I feel like this is gonna, like, take the span over a 30-year period. It started, a little over a decade ago, so we got a good at least another 15, 17 more years,
Hmm.
for this to continue through, and it's a slow process. However, with our current administration, it kinda sped up a little bit. Is part of it is moving a little faster, because of our current administration and the, political leads that are in office right now. It's kind of,
Mhm.
put a little I wanna say pedal to the metal, kind of on there, like it's pushing it forward a little bit faster. And but we voted on that. I personally didn't vote on that, but as the people who did vote in our nation, they voted for that, even though I don't think they really understood um what everything included, and the spiritual or the energetic impact that it had on that. Weird thing to
So,
say, sorry.
so for people who don't understand what channeling is, could you give us a real quick, what is channeling? How do you do it? And and do you think more people are becoming more spiritually sensitive?
Mhm.
It's because of like if they don't realize they're channeling or it's well, go ahead. Do that. Do what we give us a little brief summary of what exactly is channeling for people who don't know what it is.
So channeling is just allowing another entity. I don't want to sound crazy, but it does sound crazy. Allowing another entity to speak through you. So it may be listening to your intuition and allowing that information to come through. You may actually channel a collective group. we've heard of other channelers, talk about their collective, or you may just channel an individual. And it starts with that quiet whisper that comes in, and learning to trust it. So, main thing in channeling is trust, is trusting the information that comes in. And many times for me, it's information I clearly know it's not me because I'm like, I will fight it all the way. Sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want this to be the answer, but it's the answer, right? So when it goes against, kind of what your human
Mhm.
mind wants to say. Um, Usually the channeling, I actually run a hold a channeling circle to where I'm teaching other people to trust their intuition in regards to building that trust and trusting themselves and the information that comes through. But it's stepping aside, setting yourself aside. So setting your mind and your ego aside and allowing the communication from another source to come through and communicate using your voice.
Have you ever channeled something malevolent?
No,
Why? Why not?
I have not.
I mean,
Um,
you would think with all, if you get into this field and you get into ghost hunting and you get into, a lot of that, I mean, there are malevolent entities out there, whether they're demons or they're just dead people that are wandering in the outer darkness. I've read a number of books where these things actually attach to people, and then you got to get a medium to try to convince them to go to the light, get out of
right.
here.
Well,
But
I don't think
Maybe
you
it's because
meant
I
you
am a
didn't
medium. I mean, I
you
don't know.
didn't
I've
you didn't
never.
you weren't questioning does she want to, or has she
I don't
ever
no, I
want
just find it
encountered?
odd that it's always been a positive
Like who would
experience. Well,
wanna have
you
a
don't know who you're contacting. That's my point. When I did the UFO investigations, I would always say to the ghost hunters, you're crazy. You're going into a graveyard and you're trying to communicate with these things you can't see. How do you know who you're talking to? And there are demonic entities and very malevolent entities. I just find it odd that it's always been a good experience.
um, I don't. It's always been a safe experience.
Yeah, I find that
I'll put
strange.
it that way. It's always been a safe
she's
experience.
all
Now
you've always had a good the light comes in, not the darkness.
Do you think it
right, and
has
I
to do with
protect myself. I energetically protect myself. Now, I will say that I'm a medium, so, and I can sense things coming in and I can sense things coming close. And if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel like it resonates with my own energy or what I try to bring in a thing, I will block it.
Yeah, okay. So
Um,
maybe you have come into contact with some and you just blocked them. I know if I tried
and I
this,
do.
if I tried a seance, I tried to contact, my house would turn into the Exorcist movie. There's no doubt in my mind.
And I do put a lot of protection around me, quite a
All right.
bit. And it's kind of funny how much I do because I don't realize I do until another medium, somebody who could actually see chakras,
Oh.
um, told me one time, they're like, "I don't see any color around you, I only see white." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that makes sense," because I had to go to we have a MARTA station here in Atlanta, and we have MARTA as our public transportation. And I was just, like, drowning myself in white light because I was so nervous on being on the MARTA because 'cause I'm not used to it, right? And so, I think I do a lot more than probably what's needed. I will say very interesting though, John, that you bring it up. I was, I was working this weekend, at a psychic location, and I think I could feel something like being pushed on me from the back, and literally, I just visually threw up mirrors all the way around me,
Well, yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
And, one of the ladies that worked with there, I was telling her about the experience, and she very clearly just stated that it's because I am a medium and I could feel it, and so therefore, I was able to stop it before it got to me.
Yeah. Do you do any remote viewing? You ever tried to do remote viewing where you can see something going on somewhere, like they do that with hostages or kidnappings? Are you able to do that or no?
I haven't done it to no, but I have had visions I would call it more of an astro travel, where I've had visions where it seems like it's in another space and time altogether that's not even related to Earth here.
Okay.
I mean, I
You know,
know
I
that
was I,
sounds crazy, and it feels kind of crazy to say that, but I have had those experiences.
well, I was updating one of my books today, and Ben Rich, who was the head of Skunk Works for Lockheed Martin, it's
Mhm.
got to be 1996 or 93. I don't know what the year was. Again, about 30 years ago. He made some comments that we have the technology now to go to the stars, and the UFOs you see, some of theirs, some of ours. But then somebody asked about space travel because it's so far, and he made a comment that the way you do it is at the speed of thought, like ESP,
Mhm.
that's how it's going to be done. So, to me,
That
it's
makes
like, okay, so you're not going to physically go to this other planet. And does that mean like the ETs are using like ESP or telepathy to come here, but they're not physically here?
Well, I do believe some are physically here, but my communication, with them is through thought and through
Through what?
messages that come in.
Okay.
Through so the plate so, like, I channel, a group of Palladians, and I
Okay.
didn't know what they were until after I'd already started, and it was very interesting because when they kind of I was seeing symbols, and I would just write the symbols down, and I would sit with the symbol and then identify how the symbol made me feel. It was very interesting. They look similar to ruins, but different, and I would just draw the symbol out, and then I would sit with it, and then I would write how it made me feel. And then the next thing, it was through a meditation. I was like the person that was giving the guided meditation was trying to take me like down, down through a forest, but I went up and I went up past our planet and our solar system, and I went up and it was like the 3 stars, so the 3 sisters is what it brought to me, and then, I literally saw, like, 6 figures that were surrounding me in this meditation, and that was kinda like my first meditative connection with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Have
Um
you read any books on like Enochian, the language of angels and demons, on John Dee? I think it was John Dee that wrote that one book, and it was full of symbols. And I don't remember if it actually told you what each symbol meant, or I think it did tell you. I show you a symbol, tell you what they meant. But this is the kind of like language that the angels and the fallen angels use. So I've looked at a lot of demonology and a lot of alien abductions that the person abducted was shown symbols, but not told what they meant, and then told to say things, but in a different language, like Enochian, let's say, their language.
Mhm.
And the person had some very bad experiences with alien abduction. And so I just get real cautious when I hear about symbols and things, because when they're telling you this, you could be making an oath or saying something, and now they're taking possession, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you know what you're saying, what you're doing, if it's their language that you don't understand? And these symbols kind of show up all the time in alien abductions and even in the demonic stuff.
Mhm. I think most of, like, I don't know, the symbol would kinda like, I mean, it would just kinda, like, hang around, and so as soon as I, drew it out, the the constancy of seeing it, went away. So as soon as I would draw it out, it was kinda like a releasing it, right? And so I would
Yeah.
draw it out, and then, I would just sit with it and just kinda see how it made me feel. Most of mine have been, more on they've been on the positive side. I haven't had anything that has made me feel, uncomfortable or scared. Some of it's been, relaxing and letting go. Like, I know one of them said that. Another one was, peace and light. I'm trying to remember, like, I don't have the cards with me, but, I
Yeah.
have them all on little index cards, and I would draw one on an index card and then just sit with it and then just write what it brought to me, but all been on the positive perspective, um,
Do you think
of
that
things.
has to do with the receiving person's personality? That
I
if
think
you're
so.
positive, you'll only get positive, and if you're a negative, suspicious person, you get more negative stuff?
I think whatever you're open to is what you're gonna receive. And
Yeah.
so whatever you resonate and what you're open to, if somebody's curious, about, a more negative or a darker intent, they would probably receive more of that,
Yeah. I grew up in
than
New
I
York
would.
City, so I grew up in New York City. I don't trust anybody. So if I make a
Yeah.
contact, it's going to be negative.
Summer, there's a lot of talk about frequency, vibration,
Resident.
portals,
Yeah.
retrograde,
Mhm.
solar storms. Do these things truly affect us? Or how do you experience global energy changes?
So I do think some people are gonna be more sensitive to these than others. Some people are gonna realize right off the bat what it is. Some people are gonna feel a shift or a change, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, what was that?" And it may not resonate with them right away on what it was. And I guarantee you, I it's funny because I can actually see somebody like being affected by it and then not realize they were affected by it. And then maybe 6, 7 months down the road, they learn about it and then they're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, that's what happened.
Oh.
So I definitely believe in portals. And the reason why is because I had a house. Um, I built a house back in early 2000s, and it was really interesting. I didn't believe, like, I believed in ghosts and spirits, but I wasn't open. Like, I wasn't open to my mediumship capabilities. I wasn't open to channeling and all of that. And all these things were happening at the house. And my pets were doing weird things, and I'd be like, what in the world's going on? Like, I would have a cat that would go out on the back porch and then scoot up next to the wall and walk next to the house as tight as they could, and then once they got past a certain part of the porch, they take off running. I'd be
Hmm.
like, "Well, that's just the weirdest thing." And, so come to find out, we actually built the house on a portal. And the
Oh, that's crazy. I think she's in a portal right now. I think she got something
We
happened.
got frozen. The
I
picture's
know.
frozen.
Oh my
We thought you lost. We thought we lost you to a vortex.
Yes, vortex.
that's so crazy. I don't know what happened there.
I
Well,
thought you
you
got
know what? A lot of
possessed.
weird stuff happens
Wait,
on
I
this
put my
show, so
glasses on. I thought you got possessed. You just froze.
so that would be crazy building a house on a portal because that would just how do you know things are like happening that aren't happening? Are they happening? Are they really happening? Time is speeding up. Like 2 days ago, was it yesterday? It seemed like the day I lost time. I mean, I thought for sure I was on a portal because the whole day what and I'm not the only one who felt that. My friend felt it too. We were talking on the phone. Like I was exercising and all of a sudden it was 10 o'clock. And then all of a sudden I looked at my clock, it was 1. Now, okay, what happened? I
Did
did
you
not
eat
pass
lunch?
out.
Mine's been like the
No,
exact opposite.
Did you
My
eat
few
lunch?
days have been the
no.
exact opposite. It's only like 1 o'clock. I feel like
No, the time was what and I all I was doing, I said, "This doesn't make sense," because I rode my bike for 30 minutes. I did my stretches from 10, and all of a sudden it was 1 o'clock. Did I pass out? Did I don't know about it? Or was I in some kind of time warp or something? But my friend felt the same way.
yeah.
And I don't know, lately, I don't know what's going on. Like we're talking about vibration and frequency and stuff like that.
I also
Like
think
my
it's I also think it's that we're shifting our timelines. And I relate it back to the Mandela effect. Like, you've heard of the
Yes, I was just
Mandela
gonna
effect.
say that.
Yeah, and literally, like, and I swear I felt it before. I swear I have felt it, like, situations have happened where I made a choice, and about 30 minutes later, I felt a shift. And I'm just
That's
like,
crazy.
did I
Go
just
through.
change something? Like, that would be the thought that come through, and I think it's getting people that are open and more sensitive to their own energy and the things around them and their own bodies. I think it's very important to be aware of your own body and how it feels. I think we're becoming more sensitive to these slight frequency changes that happen, and they don't
Hey,
have to be huge shifts. They can just be very small.
do
You
you
ever
think it has something to do with CERN, that when they turned on CERN that everything started to get wacky?
Somebody mentioned that, and they thought that, that's what it had to do with. Also, some of our weird, weather patterns lately, um, has been affected by that.
Yeah, that's
with the
there's
Mandela
something going on.
effect, have you ever like had a cheeseburger and then go to the refrigerator and you look at the bottle and it says ketchup and you thought it was ketchup?
Yeah.
That's the Mandela effect. I could have sworn it was spelled differently.
Well, they did it. There was a TikTok. I wish I had it. A guy said that he thought that there was some kind of he believed it had something to do with CERN, and there was a portal
Could be.
that, and he was walking. He had the Bearstein Bears book, okay, and he would go through the doorway, and you could see, he has it on video. You can see it changing from the bear, like there was a E to a Bearstein at the end. He said it was, you could see it on the TikTok. You can actually see how he shifted back and forth. And he said it had something to do with CERN, the Mandela effect now. And there's
Mhm.
portals everywhere going. And he said he was going and shifting through a portal,
Well,
and
you
you
know,
could
Wow.
see.
they've also said if we perfect, or attempt time travel, that it can create different realities.
Mhm.
So, they may have done something going forward or going back in time. And then it's like, that it was always spelled ketchup. And
Mhm.
then you now all of a sudden you look at the bottle, it's spelled differently. And there's a whole bunch of examples like that things just changed, that things you thought were true. And now it's like, wait a minute, I know that. I saw it, I read it. Now it's
Yeah,
not even there.
it's
Yeah,
crazy. There's
absolutely.
so many weird things that are happening. You know, g- I I follow a lot of different influencers, and we're going back to, bringing up Charlie Kirk. I know a lot of people don't want to hear about it, but there was that movie, and I don't know if that had something to do with some kind of weird frequency or something. That movie Snake Eye. Did you hear about Snake Eye? The movie Snake Eye?
I think I watched that. Like I was in a hotel somewhere, and I'm pretty sure I watched it. I was out of town.
It was just a movie with Nicolas Cage, and I
Yeah.
believe it, what year was it? 80 something? Was it 82? I can't remember. Well, there was a person of entrance. His name was Charles Kirkland, that was murdered, shot, assassinated in a Trump, I guess, hotel. He was like watching a boxing ring, but it was like on the same day he was shot, was September 10th. His name was Charles Kirkland. The guy that killed him was Tyler something. I don't know if it was Robinson. It was just so much similarities to that. And I was like, how does something like that happen? Is it some kind of like a programming thing? Is it some kind of a frequency, a Mandela effect for that to be so similar? It's just kind of creeping me out.
I kinda wonder if people, so, like, our creators, like our movie creators, they're, um
Psychic, maybe?
I think so. I think they're seeing something through whatever their creative outlet is, and some of them, I think they're actually predicting the future.
That's
Could
what I'm
And
be.
thinking
so
too.
and so sometimes, and I think it happens more than what we realize, and maybe characters, have actually been changed, from when the movie or the creator brought it out versus when the reality of it happened.
Mhm.
So, on those different
Maybe.
timelines. And
I've
I
also
know.
always said, I've always said with the books I've written, I don't know where these thoughts come from. I just like I'll start writing and I always visualize, and then these thoughts come and I write, and I'll read the book a couple of years later and I'll say, how did I write that?
I
It's
do.
like,
Yeah.
so these movie people, and I've done television. They're very intelligent people, very highly creative, man. And I think when they're writing these scripts and doing their stuff, they're getting from somewhere.
I think they're there too, because I wrote my second book in my series, Equinox. It was about West Virginia, and at the what's that place called? My God, I'm having a brain freeze. Greenbrier, the hotel, and that used to be, there was an underground bunker. So I wrote my story.
Yeah, it's still there.
2 years before my son he went to med school, but I was writing about the Greenbrier and the underground, and there was aliens there, and all about West Virginia. And well, my son ended up going to school like 2 minutes from the Greenbrier Hotel, and he, I thought it was so weird. Like, oh my God, did I have some kind of like a premonition or something? Because he went there. It was just so cool. I mean, it was like, oh, wow, how did that happen? But a lot of my stuff that I write like I don't know, but things come true.
I think it's your intuition and you're channeling that information. So it's kind of like the trance channel, but you're just doing it in a creative.
You don't know you're actually I was always afraid to channel. I have a couple books on it, but I'm afraid to do it. I'm afraid to bring in something like John said, something malicious, like a demonic presence, because a lot of weird stuff happened in my life and I can't explain it. I don't want that to come into my house anymore.
I mean, I've had weird things happen here all the time. I love it. Actually, I love it when weird things happen. I get a kick out.
You love it when weird things happen. I get scared.
You get poltergeist activity, banging, anything?
So I have these little cubes that you put together that have little doors that open on them. And I had at the time I had an inverted table, so one of those that you get on and you hang upside down.
Oh yeah.
And I did it for my sciatica, actually. Loved it. So I had it sitting in here, and I had it pushed all the way up next to the cubes. And we're sitting in the living room, and I hear a thunk, and I'm like, "What in the world was that?" And I walk in here, and every door on all of my cubes were open and pushed up against that inverted table. And I was just like, oh, that's just too funny. And like we've had my husband lost his cell phone one morning. He couldn't find it. And I was like, well, I'll call it. And those little cabinets that go beside the stove that hold like your cookie sheets? It was in there.
How did it get in there?
Like, he doesn't know, but he started screaming and yelling, "Y'all gotta leave my stuff alone," and I'm just cracked up laughing, like, I thought it was hilarious, but
creepy.
he didn't appreciate it at all, so.
Oh, that's creepy. I don't think I don't like stuff like that, like
I don't know, I was at work one day, and it was a copy room, and in the middle of the room, there were recycling bins, where you put paper into recycling, and I was off to the side, putting prints together for a presentation. So I was building like presentation packs of paper, and I'm like just gathering paper and stapling it. And two of the recycling bins, they were standing by, and they just started like really violently. And I was just like, "All right, y'all got to stop." And I just got them my stuff, and I just walked out.
Oh, geez. I don't think I'd like that either.
Let's say they don't stop. How do you get them to stop?
I believe it's all in what you believe. And honestly, I just, I'm not like the Lorraine and the Ed. I'm not them. I haven't had those type of experiences. Mine have been pretty mild and easy. And when I believe, like, if you believe and if you mean what you say, it happens. And, I'll say, it's got to stop. You can't do this here. You got to leave. And like, I remember years ago, I used to watch can I name names on here?
Yeah.
So, back in like like 2010, 2011, I started, everybody was talking about the Long Island medium, Teresa Caputo.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Oh, you gotta watch it. You remind me of her. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it." So I would record it and I would play it in the mornings while I was getting ready for work. So this was like at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd be playing it. And then I started seeing shadows around the house. So I'm like, "No, this
Oh.
isn't gonna work." I was like, so I quit watching. And then I told the shadows, like, you can come during the day when it's daylight. You can come visit me when the sun's out, but when it's dark, is you can't do it. And so
Yeah.
I just energetically just kind of just push it out, but I mean it. Like I talk to them like I'm talking to my kids, like, no, this isn't allowed, so we're not going to do this.
Do you believe that calling upon, whatever God, whatever faith you're in, do you believe like calling upon Jesus would be a powerful way to push them out? Or do you think these are, well, that works for demons. It doesn't work for ghosts. But would you even consider doing that to back
Um,
to push them out, call upon some religious entity?
um, um, I wanna say no, but, I have to correct myself because I wanna say I just call on the divine, and, whatever divine godlike energy come in and then push it out. But I do, believe in the archangels, so I would probably call an archangel in,
Mhm.
before I would call, like, a Jesus
Yeah.
or anything like that. I grew up Southern Baptist. I never resonated with it. I remember in 1st grade, I lived with my grandparents, and when I would get home from school, I would have to do my Bible studies, and then I would do my homework. And I remember doing a Bible study. It was some part of the Revelations with, the river of fire and the death and all of this. And I started crying, and my grandfather's like, "What's going on?" And
Wow.
I'm like, "Granddaddy, this isn't real." I was like, "This this isn't real," and I was just crying and just upset, and, I got sent to my room. Like, I got in trouble for not believing in his Bible, um,
But why do
and
you
I
think it's not real that the really bad people or demonic entities, fallen angels, go to the lake of fire? Why do you think that's not real? Just a feeling you got?
I think it's just more of a feeling that I have. I believe that, I think we can create our own hell. I don't think necessarily hell exists. I think we can create our own. When you leave this existence, I feel that you go home and you go home and you go to a place that is all loving and all acceptance without the judgment. I don't necessarily believe in a hell. So it's just my personal beliefs and where I sit with this.
But what happens? Let's say you're a prisoner, you've killed. I might see it all the time in the news. These people commit 100 felonies and they don't even go to jail. Like what happens to them when when they die? Are they just forgiven and they're in the light and they're playing
I don't
handball
think
with
it's
me?
quite
Like
that easy. I think they do, get a sense that they get to see their actions and how whatever they did, how it affected others, and it's not just the person that they did the action on, but, the others that were connected to that, far reaching and how it affected them, and then they get to actually feel those emotions and feel those sorrows and feel what that impact had,
Mhm.
and and I think they do go through some sort of acknowledgement and healing, from that. I believe we come here choosing different roles to play, and so we have to, for this reality that we're in, there's been, the opportunity to be the bad guy, to be the evil person, to be the savior, to be all these different roles, just as you would see in a movie. And so souls choose these different roles to learn whatever lessons are impacted with those, and they carry those back with them.
Hmm. Summer, do you think that as someone who channels and works with the higher energies that you're talking about, do you believe I know you talked about the Pleiades, what how you say that?
Palladian.
Do you believe the extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings communicate the same way spirit guides do?
I think their communication is a little bit different. So for me, when I channel the Palladians, it feels
Palladian.
different than when I communicate with my guides. And when I channel my guide, it's very different for me. The Palladians, I go more into a trance channel, and my eyes are closed, and I remember very little. And then when
Mhm.
I'm channeling my guides, I'm conscious, and I've been channeling them a lot here during this time, and I remember more of that. So it's how the energy comes in and how the communication happens.
Did they ever give you a name, like who you're communicating with? Did they ever
Um, I've
give a
had
name?
I've had to learn to ask. 'Cause I've had to learn to ask. I haven't been too inquisitive about it in the past. But they're actually a group, so it's a collective group that they call themselves the Armana.
Hermana.
I think of Billy Meyer. His contact was with a Pleiadian named Semjace, Semjace. That's that
Mhm.
female, blonde, actually attractive female Pleiadian. Uh, that's the only Pleiadian name I know, but that's from the Billy Myers UFO case.
Mhm. So
Have you
I
ever
only
heard
know
that
that
name?
I've only known them as a collective.
Okay.
So it's more than just one, that I communicate with, and I can feel their energies come across. And so they've always just introduced themselves as the Armana.
Hermana.
Armana.
I
I
know,
always
right?
thought it was odd with Billy Myers that he met this female Semjase, Semjase, and if you look at the names of fallen angels, there's this Semjase, and he, I don't know, he was able to do things like they said like if you go to Tibet, you can learn how to do all these things. He would make coins melt in his hand,
Oh, wow.
forks and
That's
stuff
crazy.
melt. He could make them move across the table. I don't know. I just wondered, was it a Pleiadian or was this some sort of other malevolent entity he encountered? So
Maybe. What do you think? I don't know.
Oh,
That's crazy.
oh, that would freak me out, right? If I could do stuff like that would
it's a
freak me out.
strange story.
That would
Do
Strange.
be
you
where my uncomfortableness comes in.
do you sense that the contact is increasing? I know a lot of humans
I do too.
energetically are preparing for,
Yeah,
the
I think
mothership
so.
even unconsciously for open
Yeah,
interaction. So you believe that?
I do, and it's like people are starting to come out of the woodworks now, and you're hearing more and more about it.
There's so
Um,
many on the
yeah.
social media platforms coming.
Mhm.
A lot of light workers are saying that the mothership is coming. The mothership, and a lot of people they're really getting like so down the rabbit hole.
You
They're
know what I find?
waiting.
You know what I find
I can't
odd?
wait.
For years, I always said, that it was, that the Democrats would be the ones that would bring out the UFO stuff. In 2016, they thought Hillary was going to win. If you remember, John Kerry, Neil Armstrong, the Russian Black Pope, they were all in Antarctica, like for an announcement. But if you look at the last couple of years, it's the Republicans that are holding these congressional hearings. They were the ones I never thought would be into this UFO question, but it's that Bobbitt and Nancy Mace. There's that whole group of female
Yeah.
people. It's the Republicans that are pushing this UFO thing, and that's never been the ones that we always said. We always said it would be more the liberal, open-minded type rather than the real conservative. So I don't know. I
Mhm.
just find that whole thing odd that they're the ones pushing it right now.
Summer, since we're talking about this, so what are your thoughts on the recent UAP disclosures? Is it truthful transparency, or is it some kind of controlled drip feeding that they're
I think
doing?
it's a little bit of a control. So I think it's a little bit of both, right? Some of it is true, and it's very. I feel like the Republicans are trying to get ahead of the game,
Mhm.
instead of being behind the eight ball of it, right? So I feel like they're trying to get ahead of the game. I mean, there's definitely been contact. There's no
Oh,
denial
yeah.
of that, and I think they're just trying to control the narrative that comes out the
Do
best that
you
they
Yeah.
think?
can.
Do you
Control.
think that this whole UFO thing and even the abductions and the contact, do you think they're coming from space, or is there another species here on this planet? Even that other guy, Tim Burchett, whatever his name is, he's saying now there's 5 or 6 bases under the ocean where these UFOs are coming from. But either they're aliens that came here thousands of years ago and they live underground. That's why they got the big eyes, because their planet is darker, and they got the large eyes because it's low light. But are we dealing with something that's underground in the inner earth, in caves under the ocean, or are we actually dealing with that's been here a long time, or are we dealing with something that's extraterrestrial? Because the extraterrestrial would not, would not be physically compatible with us. And a lot of these stories of abductions, they're using genetic material for hybrid kids, and I don't know if you could really do that unless you're very similar to being human. Like maybe it was an early species on this planet that then went underground, but they've got telepathy and they've got some abilities, and that's what we're experiencing.
I've heard all of the above.
Hmm.
So, I mean, and
Sure.
for years, I've always believed that there's more to our oceans than what we realize, and I always believed that if aliens were here, that would be the best place for them,
Yeah,
Hi,
best
right?
place.
Joe. Joe's
So,
he's
oh,
saying hi.
hi, hi, Joe. I don't know if he's
This
listening. Yeah,
this
I think
is
it's all of the above to tell you the truth, John, because I've always felt that there's more to our oceans, and if anything was gonna be there, that's where it would be. Even from early on, before I even, like, started kinda getting into any of this, I always felt that way. Um,
Mhm.
and that just seems and then recently, I've heard more and more about underground and in our mountains,
Yeah.
particularly in our mountains.
Yeah, Mount
Um
Shasta, big time. Mount Shasta's famous for that.
Yeah, and so, but I also feel that they're coming from above too. And you know, the newest are, they say that, I mean, we're from aliens, right? They say that we're
Mhm.
hybrids from what was here, so why wouldn't it
I
be?
think they actually
Yeah,
were on. They were here and they left, and then now they're
right.
coming back to
Yeah.
see how screwed up their
Or
offspring.
you,
How bad
you
we
know what
messed it up since they left.
what really does work is, there's been 5 extinction events where everything doesn't really get extinct, but you lose 95% of the human life, let's say. But there was an early, let's say the first humans here, like Atlantis, let's say, got very technical, they had craft, and they left the planet. And then there's
Mhm.
been extinctions, and now 10,000 years, whatever, 20,000 years has passed. It's actually the first humans coming back. Then they would be genetically compatible with us.
Mhm.
Then the abductions and everything actually work, for the genetic material.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can't have an
Absolutely.
alien that's related to worms using our DNA. I mean, how's it going to work? It don't
Right.
work.
That works.
They'd have to be related to us somehow.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm I think you're right on the money
Could be.
in
Could
regards to
be.
all of that, yeah. I definitely
Um,
feel like you're in our oceans, no doubt, like
Well, when you look at the shipping lanes, I
Mhm.
mean, the shipping lanes are just between major cities and other cities. So once you go like south, there is no traffic going around Antarctica, like
Yeah,
Australia straight across. Nobody takes ships
nobody
that
goes up
way.
there.
They're
Yeah,
going this way, they're going that way. So
yeah,
you've got this huge part of the Pacific Ocean, maybe 60% of it, there's no traffic there. There's no boats, no planes go there. Why would a plane fly all the way down south to go north? So anything could be under there, and that's a gigantic amount of square miles.
About like our depth, we can't even reach the depths of our ocean. So you know, and I'm sure other species could, because I would think that they would be more advanced and have the technology to be able to be there. Yeah.
I don't know. So what do you think about this, since we're coming down to the wire, this Atlas? What do you think the Atlas, was it 3-eye Atlas?
3-eye
what do you think about that? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
The first words that come through is that it's man-made.
Just like somebody else said.
Before the show, I said that to her. I said, we sent this out into space 10 years ago, let's say, and now it's coming back, and this is part of a false flag, and it's really ours.
Yeah, the first words that come through is man-made.
There you go. And the 3-eye to me is that third eye, like the pineal gland, whatever it's called. That
pineal gland,
to see the third eye. I'm surprised they called it 3-eye Atlas. They should have called it 3-eye. What's that band? 3-eye Blind, Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye Blind?
Is that a band? They should have called it that. 3-eye Blind.
I know it's like we can make light about it, but there's some people that are really seriously scared about it. Like China, for instance, they issued a warning about 3-eye Atlas, and NASA is silent about it. They issued a warning to their people.
Well, I'd be very careful about false flags, because I believe one is coming. That the government's in on it. They're going to tell us something. It's going to be something, And
I think.
It's moving so fast, though, Summer.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be used as a trigger. So I feel like this event is going to be used as a trigger, and I think it's going to be as scare tactic or a scare control.
Which is kind of funny, Summer. It's like NASA is not working because the government shut down. So it's going to go behind Mars or the sun, or what is it? It's going to be behind the sun, or it's going to be behind that we can't see it. And then all of a sudden it's going to be on top of us. So that doesn't concern you at all. I mean, what happens if
I think it's going to be fine. What we need to be aware of are the stories that come out from the government, and how they're going to use this to try to scare us or control us.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a false flag. Now, I've always viewed it, looking politically, looking at the progressive movement versus the Christian nationalist movement, is that if Democrats were in office and there was alien contact, they're going to say the alien said there is no God. There is nothing happens after you die. And that's pretty much the way they preach things, that, whatever makes you happy and there's no real consequences afterwards, But if you have like the administration in now that's pro-Christian, pro-religious, that the question when they show up is, well, how'd you come to be? And they're going to say, yes, we have a savior just like you. We've monitored you. We were created. We didn't evolve. God's real. And that would be if the Republicans are in office, and they are. So that would make me happy if that was the message. And that's the way I've always viewed it, is, it's either going to be very positive, and then the whole world's going to turn to more morality and religion, or it's going to be very negative, and then the attacks on Christianity and Jews that always seem to take place, but that'll just make it worse.
Oh no, Summer.
That's because I'm involved in politics too. So
that's why he's
UFOs and politics.
So you're also a medium, and do you like say, okay, like I had a lot of people die in my family, so. What's the question I'm trying to ask? So they come to you, or is it like, the shows, or is it you have to just go out and start thinking about it? Like,
So,
like if they
so
come bothering you, hey, Summer.
no, they don't come
I
bother
want.
me. Yeah, so
Okay.
no, they don't come bother. No, so I'll have a client and then I will connect with that client's energy and then connect with their source on the other side. So if a loved
Okay.
one decides to come through and show up, then most definitely so. I can try to connect with their loved ones. So it all depends on the person who's
So
sitting
it's not
across
like
from
on the
me.
TV show Medium that they'd come around your bed and when you're sleeping, like, hey, I need you to tell my mom I'm okay.
That has happened. But it was my best friend. So my best friend's father passed away when they were on vacation.
Mm.
And she texted me that night to let me know and told her I was sorry. And then that night I went to bed and I felt something sit on the end of my bed.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I know you're here. I was like, but we can talk in the morning. We don't do this at night in my, because I have strict rules, man. If they come
Yeah,
around, I'm
I
gonna
wouldn't want
push
them
them
coming
away.
to my house at night.
And
I
so,
just
the next morning, I sat down and I invited her dad to come and communicate with me. He gave me a message. I typed it out for her as I received it. And literally, I put it on her desk at work with a note on it and says, "Open when you're ready."
oh wow. That's
And so,
crazy.
I just left it for her, for
Oh,
whenever she was ready, to do that.
oh,
There's so many different versions of what happens when you pass away. You
mhm.
know, I've always believed that initially you get to see you say goodbye to your kids,
I
your
think so too.
grandkids, all of
Mhm.
that. But then, you read a lot of other stuff, and it's like, in the Bible, they had to awaken Saul, and he said, why did you wake me up? I was in a deep sleep. No, Samuel, because of Saul, he was the witch of Endor and all of that. But I find it interesting that what Samuel said was, "Why did you wake me up? I was in a deep sleep." And a lot of people believe that your soul just like goes into a long sleep, almost like
Mm.
suspended animation until the end. And then I've read books where it's like even Jesus said, "You risk wandering in the outer darkness." Now, I mean, if he said that, it's got to mean something. And I've read books on these mediums and near death experiences and stuff where they say that a lot of people are just kind of, they don't even know they're dead. They're wandering around, they're
Mm.
seeing lights, they're seeing other people. They don't understand why people aren't talking back to them. So,
Mhm.
then people say, well, you go straight to heaven. I don't know if you do or not.
Mhm.
And the bad people go straight to hell. I mean, there's got to be, well, then there's the reincarnation from the Eastern philosophy, right? You get
Mhm.
800, I don't know, I think it was 800 reincarnations until you can get it right. So what do you think
Wow.
actually happens?
I'm still, like, thrown about the 800 reincarnations.
Well,
I've
that's
done
the
past
Buddhists.
lives.
The Buddhists say 800
No.
reincarnations until you can
I
finally
definitely
get it
believe in
right.
past lives because I've had past life regressions myself, and I've guided several individuals through their own past lives. I think what happens I I think that's how we end up getting ghosts. I think ghosts are individuals that are here that do not realize that they're gone, or they
Yeah,
don't know how to get over to the other side.
yeah.
Like, and I don't really know how to explain it. Basically, I think it's a couple of things. One, I think once when somebody passes away, I think they do have I feel like it's an option, um, to either stay or go, or stay and then go later.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, and because her dad, like, he was still here. I don't think he actually crossed over completely to the other side because he was still here. You know, and so, people who've said that loved ones pass and they've seen them, the moment they pass or they've heard them. I think that our soul can stay, as long as it wants to here in this realm until it's ready to go over. And
Or
sometimes they don't realize.
or do you think that the longer they stay here, they start to lose the ability to leave? It's like it's almost like that. What was that movie with Robin Williams where his wife committed suicide? And remember, he went to try to save her.
Yeah,
But the longer he was in this area, because it was so negative, the suicide was depression. He started getting. He was almost like he was starting to collapse, and he couldn't get out.
I think that once we leave our physical body and it's just our spirit, our essence, that at that point time no longer exists.
Right.
Time as we understand it now no longer exists. So I don't think they even realize that they're here for so long.
Yeah. I got a theory about deja vu. Because my brother believes in the reincarnations. I don't. Because I think you only get one shot, and then it's a matter of your faith, whether you go to heaven or you don't, or you wander in the outer darkness. So people said, well, how about deja vu? I had deja vu. I took the kids on a cruise. We were in Florence, Italy. We turned a corner, and I just froze. I recognized it 100%. So right away would be, well, maybe you lived back in Da Vinci's time or something like that. But here's my theory, and this comes really from my grandson. When he was born, he's 8 now, when he was maybe 3-ish, he said, I remember being in heaven looking down right before I was born, and I was there with my brother Beckham, and he was crying, saying, when do I get born? And he said, and then I got born, and he was crying because he didn't know if he was going to get born. So my theory on deja vu is you're there, and it's like this is the entertainment channel. You get to watch everything going on Earth. So then you're born, and then you're this little kid, and the brain just kind of wipes everything out. All those memories, let's say, from being a soul watching, but then you have some flashbacks, because you were really seeing it, and that's your deja vu. Not that you were there, but you were viewing it.
Wow. Okay.
That's my view.
Okay.
There you go.
I strongly believe in reincarnation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a Buddhist.
Well,
you're a Buddhist.
no, I don't.
It was a very enlightening show tonight. I want to thank you for coming on, Summer. Where can I'm glad. You'll have to come back. Where would you where can someone get your information if they want a reading or your books? Where would they get in touch with you?
So my website, as you see, my name is Just Be True. So it's just-be-true.com. That's my website. You can schedule appointments with me there, read all about me. You can connect with my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and podcast there. My first podcast episode went live today.
Oh, congratulations.
And my podcast is Just Be True, a soul-led podcast.
That's awesome.
And then also my book information is also on my website as well. I've only done one book, and it's your Embracing Your Inner Shadow.
And Embracing Your Inner Shadow. That's a nice title. Well, it was so nice to have you on the show. John, you have a conference symposium this weekend coming up?
No, we did it last weekend in Philly.
Was it okay? You have fun?
Not a big crowd. I was disappointed. We broke even. It was 71 people. I even reduced the price $10 from 45 to 35. And it was our final event because MUFON pulled out. And I didn't want to just fade away into the night. So I did the conference. I paid for it. And we didn't get the crowd to show up. So I'm not going back again. So I'm done with Philly now.
So are you done with MUFON completely?
Yeah, I don't do anything with them anymore. But I run the Pittsburgh one myself. It's Westmoreland County.
So they're not involved in that this year?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Maybe I'll go.
MUFON PA has gone belly up pretty much,
That's because Fred took over. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It just go there.
You just call him MUFONY. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody, it was good to have you on this, in the audience tonight. Well, if you're watching it on the recording, this is a good show. We'll have another guest next week. I'm excited. Have a great evening and enjoy this October weather.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where nothing is beyond the scope of normal. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube for past episodes, live streams, and more. And if you'd like to be a guest or reach out, email us at chasingprophecyradio@gmail.com. Until next time, keep looking beyond the shadows